everybody. Welcome to this episode of Trade Talks podcast, the blue collar business podcast hosted by Glass Guy on YouTube. Today we have some special guests. I'm actually kind of almost returning the favor. The gentleman from the Instagram sensation Lobby Rats podcast, who we've been seeing on Fifth Ave and Mercado, where they just kind of randomly go up to people and strike conversations. It's just really interesting. So what's up, gentlemen?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm glad you guys are here. What do you think of the studio?
Oh my God.
Dude, the setup is amazing.
It's sick, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Let's talk about your podcast, Lobby Rats podcast. What was the inspiration behind starting it? And I guess let's start with that. What was the inspiration behind starting that?
Oh man, I mean, I'll tell you the whole story. We were all going to a fair, to the Collier County Fair, and on that drive back, actually, we were both talking about podcasts and listening to Joe Rogan and all that, and we just kind of had the random idea of we could do this ourselves. You know, it's a possibility we could do this ourselves. So we just kind of got straight to it, and we started thinking of ideas and stuff like that, and trying to get people, because we were at the same time in a business ownership class with a great guy. Actually, was our first guest, Todd Brooks, and he was the guy who kind of helped us get a lot of it running. Actually, like our first filming location was at his restaurant, and I mean, he was an amazing first guest.
Yeah, Brooks Burgers.
Yeah.
Oh, on Vanderbilt?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, the one on 9th.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Because there is one at Vanderbilt in 41, right?
That's right.
It is.
Right next to LA Fitness.
Yeah,
Best burgers in
Monk?
Naples.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're delicious, man. They're the donut burger.
Oh my God. And we got it for free, obviously, because we were filming a podcast. He
Right.
just hooked us up, and we just filmed.
Had you eaten there prior to doing the filming there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to put that over on the table?
Yeah,
Kinda, unless you're trying to cover something.
no.
That could be really weird.
It's gonna be
I mean, maybe it'll go viral, but I'm not about that.
really weird camera shot.
Right.
Okay, so what's the inspiration behind the podcast? So you thought that you're going to get into it for what? What is your angle? What are you trying to expose? What are you doing?
Okay, so Ryan and I, both being high school students, I've probably created, let's say, 10 side hustles in my life. Dog poop picker-upper. I window wash during the summer. I clean boats. I clean cars. As much as I can to make money. And, you know, I see every single kid. We both see every single kid in high school. No one's doing that. Everyone's just sitting on their phone, going to parties, doing drugs, all that, whatever. So Ryan and I, when we were talking, we were like, dude, these kids don't do anything. I mean, we're not really doing anything. Let's just spread the word. Let's get people to talk to people like us and just give advice.
Right. It was like, as well, we were trying to inspire kind of other people in our area, like young kids, to try to set these big goals and stuff, and try to become entrepreneurs and, you know, do something with their lives. Because a lot of them, you know, like him and I have seen in the classrooms, they'll ask, like, what are you going to do with your future? And they have no clue what they're going to do. So honestly, the biggest thing about this podcast that I feel that we're making impact on is trying to influence and inspire young entrepreneurs, which is our motto, and you know, young kids in our area to try to you know, think of bigger things to achieve with their lives, right?
Yeah.
I think you guys are doing a fucking awesome job doing that. And let me tell you why. When you invited me on your podcast, I had gone through and watched some of your stuff. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And I told you I got referred to you guys. I got put on to you by a mutual friend, a contact that you met at a chamber function. And when I saw how old you guys were and how you were ahead of the people your age doing something like this, and I personally know how hard it is to kind of start breaking through in this and overcoming fear, and no one else is doing it and people making fun of you. It's hard to stay consistent. But when I started seeing all the stuff that you guys were doing, I said, man, these guys are on it. This is somebody I want to know. And I was willing to forfeit my Friday evening because I wanted to come meet you guys. That's the type of thinking and ambition. There's an old saying, game recognizes game. I instantly, after seeing your page, realized these guys get it. You're willing to forego all that, the partying. there's nothing to be had from partying. Coming from someone who's wasted a lot of money on alcohol, I can tell you there's not one benefit from that. So by not getting involved in that, you guys are already way ahead of the curve. But even more so, putting yourselves out there and going up and talking to random people. I deal with professionals, salespeople. They call themselves professionals. They can't do what you guys are doing. And so I know it doesn't seem like that, but you really are. You're selling yourself. You're hoping that they trust you enough and feel comfortable enough to you to open up and give you advice. And that's the reps that you get in on producing that type of content is putting you so far ahead of your peers, you have no idea. And this is coming from somebody who's in sales. So I respected the hell out of that, number one. Two, your consistency. I mean, you guys are on it. There's a lot of content out there, and most people quit after doing 1, 2, 3 podcasts. They quit.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I admire what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome. Part of the reason why I wanted to bring you in here, and I have some gifts for you guys I want to give you, is because I want to invest in your guys' relationship to the point where when you guys get big, you won't forget about me, and hopefully you'll bring me back on your show. So I want to be one of the first people in here to really put you guys over.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
I mean that because there's so few people that are willing to do this, and I feel like a lot of people will see, oh my God, these kids are in high school and they're doing like, and I'm a blue collar glass guy and I'm doing like anybody can do it. If we can do it, anybody can do it, but most people won't because of the fear. So I really commend you. So what's the long tail approach? Like, what are you hoping? I mean, you guys kind of just committed to doing podcasts, doing the on-street interviews, and just keep getting your reps in for a while and just producing content?
Yeah, I mean, we want to expand the podcast as much. I mean, my personal opinion, I think Ryan also, we want the Lobby Rats to be the main name. We have the podcast, we have the street interviews. Maybe we have like the food reviews. I want the Lobby Rats podcast to be about business and advice, but I want it to spread everywhere and just be a lot of topics.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think really the end goal really at the end is kind of making the Lobby Rats the brand basically, and then having the podcast and then the other stuff, and kind of like I don't know what a good example. Maybe the only thing I can think off the top of my head is maybe like BuzzFeed is how they went from just YouTube videos or what they did, and then they did food reviews and a bunch of different series, or actually Vice would be better because they started out with their documentaries, right, and then they moved to all the other stuff, building a brand.
The podcasting and the shorts and reels from being on the street is kind of a way to put your social community into a funnel. And so as this brand starts getting other things, food reviews, news reviews, maybe you end up collaborating with the Naples Daily News and you have a weekly interview you do with a local business person in the business section of the newspaper. There's so many possibilities. But as that brand grows and your social media grows, maybe then there becomes merch and brand deals. And, if the podcast is so consistent, maybe there's businesses that want to sponsor the podcast. So there's going to be ways to monetize it. But I don't feel like right now you guys are actually really after the money. You're just after the hustle, which is the best way to do it. The money will come, but getting this part of the hustle out of the way for a year or two is what you should be doing. And you guys are doing that.
I mean, the money's the byproduct pretty much. And yeah, it's like you said, it's always a slow come up, but with consistency, I mean, it took Joe Rogan 10 years of doing that before he actually blew up to where he is, now, where you can ask probably not like, maybe it's a big, but more accurately, probably 75% of people in the United States, who's Joe Rogan, they're going to tell you exactly.
Oh, he's a household name. And if they don't know who they are, you don't even need to be talking to them. I mean, you have to be a moron. He's like the Oprah Winfrey of this generation. He's the most popular podcaster. Everybody's streaming, social media. If you don't know who he is, you live under a rock.
Pretty much, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So the hustle. So is there any guests you guys got lined up that you can kind of spill the beans on? Or?
Oh, we have, let's think. So we have the owner of a new, I'm not going to drop their names just yet, but it's a new cigar company that's coming out. It has come out. We're a bunch of CEOs. we're having Jason Diver in the future. He is the biggest charter captain in Naples, one of the biggest charter captains. He's gone viral multiple times. He went viral during a hurricane, 1 million views per video. Crazy amount of views. And we have about 6 people lined up in the next couple months, and we just keep on talking to people and just say, hey, you want to come on? Here's our business card. That's how we kind of spread our word, you know?
I love it. What about I can't get enough of the on the street stuff. Like, how often are you doing that?
Honestly, that's whenever we get the chance. And I mean, we're always ready for it. I mean, I keep literally the microphone in my car at all times.
100%.
So that whenever we see anybody interesting, pretty much, we're like, let's go run up to that guy right now and see if he wants to do an interview.
That's smart.
He's like, yeah.
That's what we did. My buddy Dominic, we were at seated table, and normally he's just walking through. We're both not there. He's with his family. He's with his brother. His brother's like 19. He's our age, 17, 16. And this is what Dominic does. He looks and he sees Papa John. Papa John's just just grocery shopping. He runs up to Papa John, politely asks for an interview. He says yes, and we get a 30-second interview with Papa John. Just out at random, just doing his own stuff.
That was amazing. I watched that several times, and he's always pops up around. He's usually at Seed the Table or Food to Thought, lives down in Port Royal. He's actually a very approachable individual, massive business, massively successful. I think he's got a place in Kentucky and a few other places throughout Naples, but that's really cool that he had the balls to go up and ask for that interview. Where else are you doing these? So mainly 5th, Mercado, 3rd, anywhere else, or just wherever?
Well, we have something on Saturday, Ryan. You want to talk about that?
Oh, come on, let's go.
We're going to be going to the Everglades Seafood Festival.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about that. So that's this Saturday.
Yep, that's this Saturday. And we're going to, we get the media passes, obviously, so we're going to be able to interview most of the bands there and, all these different stands. I mean, there's so many different businesses that go there. It's great. I mean, there's so much content there.
How are you prepared for that? You have all the tools and stuff.
Hopefully we don't run out of storage because we get so much media. But I'm prepared. We've been getting some questions, even though we kind of just do what we say, but we usually get one good question at the last. So I think we'll get like the most love and the most shares.
Right.
That's so cool.
Go ahead. Our kind of format with the shorts is like, obviously we go up to them and ask the questions, but we don't, every single question that you see on the actual videos aren't really, there's probably half of the questions we actually ask them. We ask them, like probably a good 4 or 5 minutes of just questions. And then after we edit it, we find the best ones with the good responses that are going to be able to influence the algorithm, things like that.
My suspicion is they're probably a little sketch at first because they weren't prepared to be on camera. Your first question breaks the ice, they answer it, and then they go, okay, this isn't too weird.
Yeah.
And then the second or third question, depending on if it triggers what they know or maybe have a thought already in mind, that's when you kind of capture lightning in a bottle. Like we talked earlier, the deference and curiosity tone when you ask the question is what will really tease out a real robust answer, because I think that's what you're after. You're after a very unvarnished, totally vulnerable, best possible scenario answer, maybe even a reaction, to something the algorithm, wants to see.
Exactly. And I mean, again, about reactions, like you'll see a lot of reactionary content and people filming this, but they go to these extremes for these extreme reactions, and it's not usually good. But there, like you said, there's a way that you do it with the power of empathy and sounding curious and all that. Yeah, and their reaction is even better because it's a positive, good reaction, and it's something that anybody can be able to see online, and be like, oh, it's like that was actually a useful reel that I just watched.
All right, so tell me about how your content is being digested by your classmates, because you're in school, and I remember when I started, the people in my closest circle would literally make fun of me and do, oh, here we go again. Here goes Kim Kardashian doing another TikTok. now those same people are begging to go to the free spots where I got media passes, I got a suite at Hertz.
Yeah.
They're enjoying the benefits of what I was going through. But how are you guys and your peers? Are they brutal, or some of them encouraging? Do they make? Is it everything?
Yeah, I will give you a backstory of how we start. This is when we started the podcast. As Ryan stated, we were in our business ownership class, and we had a table where we had a group of 5, and we were called the Trash Masters. That was our name. We did scented trash bags to make the rodents not like they smell it and they don't like it. They bite it, they don't like it. It was just like, it was a little nice thing. Todd Brooks, our mentor, he also mentored us through the podcast. He helped us out a lot. But we decided to start the podcast in that class. We said, yeah, we are starting a podcast. Everyone laughed at us. We got clowned. And I mean, Ryan and I didn't really listen to it, but we just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We're going to keep on doing it. We're going to keep on doing it. We're going to keep on getting content made. But yeah, we always got hate, but we also got a lot of love. We got hate from teachers also.
Oh, yeah.
So we have teachers that say like, yeah, that's stupid. And like maybe in the class, like, yeah, Sebastian and Ryan with their stupid podcast. Like,
A teacher would say
yeah,
that.
we just get the negativity, and
That's unbelievable. A teacher.
Yeah,
who's
a teacher.
supposed to be promoting outside the box thinking, pushing the boundaries of uncomfortability.
Supposed to.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But-
Shame on that teacher.
Yeah, shame. I'm not gonna call him out.
Shame on that teacher, whoever the hell you are.
You know who you are. if
Yeah,
you're
and I'd
watching
like
this
to meet
episode.
you. Punch your lights out.
Yeah. I would never pick a fight with him. He's a little too big for me.
All right, well, I'll
but
handle
but we also had a lot of people that showed their support. Also, we had our business ownership teacher. I mean, obviously Todd Brooks, but our business ownership teacher. We have all the teachers. I just show them our QR code. They always scan it. They look at it. They subscribe. We've had a substitute. I had probably like a 2-hour conversation with her, and she helped us find a person to talk to.
So you've gotten a lot of love too. Now, as
Yeah.
it's been growing, are you seeing the shift, like a lot more love or even more hate or both?
For sure. I think it's actually a lot more love for sure when we're growing. In the beginning, definitely it was a lot more noticeable to see that people didn't necessarily, believe in us, that we were going to be actually consistent with this. But now that we've been doing it for a good year, and people are starting to see that, wow, this is actually going somewhere, and they're trying to get involved. And even I was talking about too in the podcast when we brought you on the podcast, that the people in the beginning who were kind of doubting us and hating are now having a change of thought and trying to get involved
Powerful,
in this.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a long tail approach. Like if you're going to be successful at podcasting, you have to be okay with delayed gratification. It's like working out at the gym. Like everybody wants to get the muscles, but most people aren't willing to put in the work. This is no different. The consistency is the key. You're only as good as your next one. Like, okay, you got a year's worth in the can. Great. Now what? Like, you got to keep going and going. But the social community keeps building and building as that happens. And it doesn't happen overnight, but you're a year now, you've probably already seen the difference. You're getting recognized. And a lot of people follow these guys that are, I don't even know his name. Like, you got Sid, the watch guy. You have other guys, is a younger kid, always find somebody in a nice car, and ask them for business, just like what you guys are doing. That's a popular type of content to be had, but there's so few people do it because they're so scared.
Yep.
And so I really pray that you guys keep doing that type of content on top of everything else. I think that will separate you. Like, you'll have a name for yourself in Naples. People will start going to Fifth Ave in hopes of bumping into the lobby rats to be able to be on their social media platform. I know it.
Yeah.
I was going out to dinner last week, and I'm thinking I was going to go to Waterside, but I'm like, maybe I should go down to Fifth because maybe the guys are down there, like, walking the streets. I really thought that.
Oh.
Because I am all in on social media. So if I can go somewhere where there's going to be anything social media, I'm there. Because I either want to be involved in it, or I want to learn from it, or I want to watch it.
Yeah.
It's
Such a powerful tool.
It's massively powerful. One of the 7 deadly sins is vanity. And when you put somebody on social and you're able to tag them or get them that piece of content, they'll probably watch it. If it's done right, they'll probably watch it 100 times, and then they're going to send it out to all their friends because they look so good on that content. And so it's such a powerful tool to use for you if you're going to influence and persuade people. But again, so few people are willing to take that chance that they don't really get to experience what can come from it. And I feel like you guys are getting on that point now where you're just getting ready to really blow up to another level, because now you got a lot of reps under your belt. You're getting comfortable with all the equipment, and you're starting to upgrade some of the equipment.
Yeah.
And so I have a feeling you're going to be blowing up. I think this year is going to be a massive year for you guys. I can feel it.
That's the
Hope
plan.
so, yeah.
I mean,
I can feel it.
I'm making, Ryan and I are both making, but I'm making every single Spanish class. I'm making a new Instagram reel, do it in 20 minutes. I post it during lunch at 12 p.m. every single day. Even on weekends, we just post one every single day.
Consistency.
Consistency,
That's what it is.
consistency, consistency.
It's the most important part.
Yeah, I mean, even if you like, I'm not sure with the algorithm, but from my understanding, if you post another reel at anything under like 6 p.m. or something, it's like we posted one at 1 a.m. and I mean, it got like no views.
Why do you think that is?
I think there is specific times where people view and people repost. So when people get home, that's around 4 or 5. 4 or 5 is when people are on their phone. That's when they're reposting. You need to get it. You need to get it before that, so you can get it up and then on their For You page when it's all reposted. If you can see where I'm coming from.
Yeah. What do you think is more important, the time or the quantity?
I mean, both of them definitely have a
Because I hear some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't post that much. The algorithm's gonna shadow ban you or throttle you back from some of that." Do you think that's true?
Yes.
Oh,
100.
really?
We've had Larry Venturino. Shout out Larry Venturino.
I don't
Great
know who
guy.
Larry is, but shout out Larry.
He got shadow banned.
Why is that?
He had 10 million views on his TikTok. Like 2 times.
Oh,
he was TikTok viral because he's a comedian. He put his jokes on there, and I think he did something. I don't know if it's like he posted too much, but he started getting his views up, luckily. But for the past 2 years, he's been averaging 200 views instead of 200,000.
Huh.
Yeah, TikTok famous, like 10 million views.
Just on TikTok or across all the other platforms?
Just on TikTok.
Just on TikTok, yeah. I mean, it's interesting how the algorithm works too. Like, just that one little difference, and maybe when you're uploading it, it can affect the whole thing. Because people, and you know what? I think it is a lot because people want to see new content, and if you post it at these midday times and early afternoon, people are gonna come home from work and they're gonna see, wow, this is new content. Like, let me look at this. And that's the thing about social media too, that everything is new. And after something is out for like a day, some people already consider it like old content.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I found, for me, I used to chase those times, and then it was tough for me to stay consistent on times because I'm still doing business. But I make it a point to get I do 5 or 6 posts a day, but all different types. Maybe a short or reel from a podcast. Maybe I'll do a reel myself, like some of these trending ones where I'm lip syncing something. Mm-hmm. Then I'll do some pictures of jobs we do. I'll do a motivational quote in the morning. Because from my understanding, like Gary Vee we were talking about, he says the algorithm is not designed around the creators. It's designed more for the consumer. And he says, to prove my theory right, he says, go into your Instagram, go up in the search bar, and type in 3 new things. Let's say Rolex watches, weightlifting, podcast cameras. You will automatically reset your feed and stuff that's going to be popping up. And the shit that's going to start popping up is Rolex, working out, podcast equipment. And so if there's an individual out there that starts watching Lobby Rats podcast reels and they're spending time on it and they're consuming it, the algorithm's going to say, oh, they like this. Let's give them more.
Right.
But if there's no more to give them, so for that reason, I think quantity, I wouldn't pick quantity over quality, but in the beginning, I think you want to put out as much as possible. In my opinion, I think it's necessary to put out as much as possible, because if somebody likes your content, they're not going to just want to watch one. They want to watch multiple. I know that's how I am.
Exactly.
If I see your guys' videos on Fifth, I'm like, I don't want to just watch one with the football guy. I want to watch 10.
Right.
I want to see these reactions. I want more. So I think quantity is also massively important. I think most people say, no, the algorithm doesn't like that, because it's hard work to post a lot of content. So it's just easy to say the algorithm. But I just showed you how the algorithm is designed for the consumer, not the creator. So if the consumer wants to see Lobby Rats podcast, you got to be posting more Lobby Rats podcast stuff, I think.
Yeah, I can
Now, the
definitely see
time
where
of
you're coming
day,
from. Yeah.
the times of day, I do think there's certain pops where you could probably get more to pop off if it's at the right time of day. I agree with that. I don't have enough data, though, to back up it specifically, because let's say I post at 12 o'clock every day, or whatever time we say, the content's also different every day. So maybe it's not being digested. It's like, it's such a moving target. It's just better to throw as much out there and see what sticks.
Exactly.
And then start analyzing, oh, these type get a lot more views than these types, so let's just start doing these and eliminate this.
It's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah.
Yeah. The first couple of years, and same with me, I'm not even in my first year of podcasting. I'm just collecting data right now. So I'm getting my reps in. I'm fucking up a lot. I'm, making mistakes. My first guest, I wanted my first guest to be a special one. So I worked hard to get a guest. It was a former Major League Baseball player that played for the Red Sox. He's now a Lee County commissioner. And he was like my childhood hero. Like when I pretended I was in the backyard, I pretended I was this guy. And I was so excited to get him in. Had all the questions, did my homework. I was prepared. Afterwards, I went to edit it. I realized that I double tapped that button over there on the record. So it didn't record any of the microphones. Now, luckily, I had that extra microphone on top of the camera on. Mm-hmm. The quality sounded like shit compared to this. Then two, the batteries that come with these cameras, you see I have these cords coming out of them now because they're plugged straight into the wall. The batteries have a default on it. When you record, the camera shuts off 20 minutes into it, and you have to hit record. So my first guest, my childhood hero, I only got the first 20 minutes. We talked for 2 hours. He had the most amazing stories in the world. I only got 20 minutes on camera with no audio. I wanted to quit. I was going to throw away all the cameras after. I said, this is stupid. I can't believe I just wasted this guest, and I got literally zero content that I could use out of it. I was beyond embarrassed.
Oh, my God.
But, of course, I see the benefits, so I kept going and going. But you're going to be making a shitload of mistakes, so you just got to keep going.
Oh yeah, like the first few podcast episodes as well, we had so many stuff about our videos and stuff like that, like the quality, the audio and all that, and we just slowly kind of analyzed that and started upgrading our stuff. And then now it's to the point where we're able to look at the minute details and then be able to refine that to like a lot higher quality content.
Well, I think this is a good segue to go into here at My Architectural Glass. We have this stuff called Mag Swag. So we got a little bag for each of you.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
I know you guys aren't wine drinkers, and I don't think you ever should be. But if you end up dating some women later in life that like wine, you can carry your wine around in here. Go ahead and
Look at
open up
that.
the bag.
Oh, there's something inside it.
We got some stuff inside there for you guys.
Oh,
So,
look at this.
There's a turvy there, of course.
little-
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
We got I think there's a mouse pad in there with
there's
the
a
My
mouse
Arch.
pad?
Yep.
Oh.
Of course, for when you're doing your editing, and there's a couple koozies in there. Yep.
There we go.
Look at that. No.
Thank
Maybe
you. Man.
when I'm 21, I'm going to
Yeah, you
put
can
some
put
whiskey in there.
not too much though. You don't want to waste too much money on that. And then so you got that, and then I got these for you guys. These are 4
Whoa.
brand new cameras.
Wow. Oh, my
So-
God.
Look at this, man.
Yeah.
This is great stuff, man. Thank you.
So
This-
we believe in you guys so much
Wow.
here at Mag. We're actually re-gifting this. That first podcast I told you about that I shot on the first real one, not the one that I fucked up.
Yeah.
I ended up shooting on here, and it was much better quality
Wow.
than the first ones. But they got the little mics in there. I think they're missing. The only thing that might not be in there is the little plug-in cords. So you might have to go online. I couldn't find them.
This
You might already have the cords, but everything else
Ryan,
is already in there.
You want to like look? Let's look at that. Let's look at the camera. So.
Look at that, dude.
Oh wow.
And it's got the little diffuser mic thing that
Oh, yeah,
slides
yeah.
in there at the top, so it's not staticky.
And
That's
four
I
of
think
them.
it slides. Yeah, 4.
We're gonna use this on Saturday.
Yeah, so
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
you could probably get a little like there's the threading screw underneath the camera where you can put a little holder on it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty standard fitting.
Wow. Thank
So,
you so much.
and it
Guys,
takes the
thank you.
regular SD cards. Yeah.
Yep.
So I
Yeah, I
think,
think we're gonna use this on Saturday, man, for sure.
We can break 2 out. We can get.
This is great.
I'm trying to expand the interviews. I mean, I'm trying to get a more. I mean, us being young is great. Are you still on?
Yeah, we're good.
Us being young is a great thing, and Ryan and I, Dominic, our team has great faces, but I feel like it's cool to expand and bring more people, like not more, just 1 or 2. I have a good South African friend, best customer service in the whole entire world I've ever met. And I'm like, dude, just come out with me. Let's go to 5th Avenue. Let's film some, let's just do some interviews.
what? So you're having a hard time getting people to go with you to actually do this?
No, not. I mean, Ryan and I, we can do it together. We can just do 2 of us. If it's Dominic and Ryan. I mean, I'm gonna be in Aspen. I bet these 2 are gonna go
Yeah, for sure.
go do some good interviews. But I feel like it'll be pretty cool to expand it and just have. I mean, just like owning a business, just having some people in a Mercado filming content while we're downtown filming content while some other people are in Fort Myers Beach. You know. It's
You
getting-
guys have 3 or 4 areas that you could crush at that. Downtown Fort Myers Beach,
Yeah.
the pier.
Yeah.
Those are all destination places. People love that stuff.
Even Miami, I mean.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
2 hours away is like nothing for that, for content over there.
You could even stop on the alley across your way. People are stopping at those little rest stations where they're fishing.
Yep.
They're looking for alligators. I mean, anywhere where there's human beings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go out to
Anywhere.
the casino.
Yep.
Probably get some interesting characters out there, I'm sure.
Well, Ryan and I, we're not sure about the destination. Oh, he's graduating high school next year.
Yeah.
Right
Or
on.
this year, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. This year, excuse me. I'm graduating next year, but we've made a great decision because he has really good gas mileage. Luckily, we're gonna go somewhere in America. We're gonna do a really long road trip.
Yes.
And just do all of it.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna stop by like a bunch of different cities on the way up or wherever we're gonna go, and just crush interviews there for a whole day.
That's hilarious. I think that's unbelievable. And go everywhere. Go to one of these Buc-ee's gas stations too, where you get all walks of life in there. Just try and find the most outrageous individuals that you can go up to too.
Yeah.
You get all walks of
yeah.
life.
We've speaking of outrageous people, we in this career of the podcast and street interviews, we have met the craziest people of.
Give us a story of one that you haven't posted that was just you're
okay.
like, how is this even happening right now?
So I'll let Ryan. Okay, first of all,
This is
okay, we're you know who you are. We'll give you X, your X
we're
person.
gonna call him X.
Okay, you
Okay.
can tell a story,
You know
Ryan.
what? To make it easier, we'll call him Rick. Okay.
Rick.
No,
So-
Rick is someone else that came on the podcast. We'll do another name.
Let's do
Bruce.
Bruce. Yeah. So Bruce, pretty much, we invited us on the pod, or we invited him on the podcast, and we offered to come film it at our location, whatever. But he had his own place, so he offered to just have us come to where he is. So we drove up, and it was a pretty long drive. It's up in Bonita, where it was like Estero. Estero, yeah. And we drove up, and I mean, first it was super sketchy. I mean, it was super sketchy. There's dark alleyways, and just there was no light anywhere.
We had to watch a movie in the car.
Yeah,
waiting
we had
for
to
him
like
come.
sit there and watch pretty much a movie because we were so bored waiting for him to come by. And then he finally did come by. And man, he just reeked of weed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he was.
He was done. Yeah.
Great guy.
Did
Great.
you
He's a
film
good
the
guy, by all
podcast?
means. Yeah, we filmed the whole podcast. We could have used any of the footage though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We-
And it was terrible. We walked in and we got everything set up and we got on the table, everything, and then I guess he was out there for a good, like, we had a set time to start and he was out there for a good extra 30 minutes, and I think just the whole time he just kept
Blazing up.
blazing up.
What's his deal? Like, was he not into podcasting? I mean, he made you guys wait that long, and
I think him blazing up made him a much faster and more better talker.
Right.
I guess because he went off for hours
Oh yeah.
and he cussed out his 6th grade teacher. I think he used profanity in every 2 seconds. He
Yeah,
said
I
at
mean,
least one cuss word.
We would have used it. I mean, it was just, I think it was to the point where, like, it's not even about having a problem with profanity. It's about having a problem with watchability. It was just, we both felt that it was kind of unwatchable.
like cringe.
Right. And not even, it was just like, it was F this, F that, whatever. Like, it was kind of
Yeah,
rambling.
profanity that's
It was
random and in context, like Gary Vee, is
Right.
totally tolerable. But I know what you're saying. If
Yeah.
it's the whole conversation is about swears and profanity, it's
Exactly.
like there's nothing here.
Yeah, and trust me, I mean, he's got good substance to him. He's a good guy, and he's definitely got some good stuff to tell us. It's just, I guess that day maybe he just wasn't.
Did you learn anything from this experience?
Background check our guys.
Background checks.
It's
and-
funny that you said that. So I went through a similar situation, but it wasn't someone being late or smoking weed. It was they didn't have the ability to talk in front. I couldn't believe it. An awesome individual. The second the cameras turned on and I put him behind the microphone, they were crippled. And they were talking like this, and while I was editing it, I said, I can't even fucking use this. Not only do I think people aren't going to watch this, I think I'm going to lose the 700 subscribers that I already have if people try and watch this. And so at that point, I said, I have to do a better job vetting the people that I bring on the show because I don't want to waste an hour filming and another 2 hours trying to edit a fucking turd that's, it's like putting whipped cream on a turd. You can only make it look so good.
Exactly.
And so vetting the individual, I think, it's not that I don't want to bring interesting people on. I just want it to be watchable.
Exactly.
Do you have substance? Are you a good storyteller? Do you have a cadence to your voice? Are you mindful of that? Some people are just unaware of that. And
Yep.
until they see it, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. But it's practice, and everybody can do it. I think people just limit themselves a
Yes.
lot. It's not that, I was born with this social
No.
anxiety or some of that. I totally understand if a lot of people are born with disadvantages in that area. But I mean, oh my gosh! And over time, if you're doing it consistently over and over again, you build it, and then it just becomes second hand.
I agree with you. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's born a natural. Take someone even like Tiger Woods.
Right.
The reason why he was so successful is he got his 10,000 hours in. Remember we talked about that?
Exactly.
Just a lot earlier than all of us. The dude was hitting golf balls at 2 and 3 years old and every day. He just got his practice in a lot earlier than everybody else.
Yep.
So everybody can learn anything. You just have to be committed to it. I agree with that.
Exactly. And again, like speaking to random people, we've attempted and so many times to walk up to random people, and obviously we have a lot of successes, but what we don't post is all of our losses and all that. And we would have had like probably more than 100 reels by now with all the people that we've tried to ask. It's just that also it may not be that they don't want to go on, but it's the same thing that we're talking about right now. It's that they're anxious, they're scared, they don't want to be on camera, they don't want to talk.
It's a weird dynamic for them. It's
Right.
new.
Like,
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, they're open to do it, and then we say, well, we're gonna film you with the podcast, right? And they're like, oh well, maybe not. No.
Yeah. It's
they go-
wild. It's like public speaking. That's like a big thing. People are deathly afraid of that.
Yep.
Being on camera kind of almost falls into that same category
Exactly.
if they're scared of it.
but we did learn that after the bars let open, then that's when they don't.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get a little of that lubrication in there. They'll tell you
Social
their life story.
yeah.
100%.
Kidding me? They tell you everything when they're like
Especially
that. Yeah.
more than you probably want to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mixture of good and bad. We get some bad interviews. We have also meet some really weird people out there.
Oh yeah.
I've met some guy that
Talk to them about the National Geographic guy.
well, he does not work for National Geographic.
Apparently.
We don't want to mess up his career.
Right.
But cool people. We invited him to come on. He said $300. And his wife said free, and his wife's also starting a podcast. Everybody was super nice. And he shook our hands, and when we came in for the handshake, he pulled us in and he moved Ryan, Dominic, and I
Like a step forward.
a step
Good
forward.
step forward.
He pulled us in, and then he's kept on saying no, he didn't want to come on. But he told us all of his greatest stories. And I'm like, well, it would be great if we can get this recorded, and it would be amazing.
And he kept just deflecting.
Why do you think that is? Was he just wanting to give you a hard time, or did he really not want? Did you think he was going to get you guys to pay?
I think it was on drugs.
Drugs. Yeah, drugs.
100%. It was obvious too. Something was off.
Yeah, we walked up to him, and it's like the moment I saw this guy's eyes, I'm just like, I knew
Oh.
something wasn't,
Trust your instincts. If you
Right.
think he was, he probably was.
Yeah. And he had this crazy stare to him, like he'd stare like deep into your eyes, and then you shook hands with him, and he'd grip it and he'd pull you forward.
Oh yeah,
It's like-
somebody's doing some nose beers.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Definitely in a snow party or
But I
something
mean,
like that.
my gosh, yeah, he had some crazy stories. Like, he was telling us like stuff about him, like with his apparent filming for like National Geographic and all that, and then his like safari, and then his wife went on about mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting couple.
It was an
Yeah.
interesting guy. yeah.
Very,
So
very,
you didn't
very
do the podcast.
No.
No.
Okay,
No.
good idea.
I wish we could. I mean,
Yeah.
it would have got some good content in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking of putting a little bit of more jokes with the business when it comes to interviews now, because, I mean, the advice is great, but what I learned is that you have to have that 100% view rate through the whole entire video. If one part gets boring, then it just drops and you lose all your views. People just swipe. So you can get like 10 seconds into the video and it goes down because it gets boring.
Right.
So I feel like I should always add a bit of spark. Obviously, put the most important part in the beginning, put a joke in at the end with the key advice, which people stay along.
Oh,
the
you're
whole time.
saying on the street interviews.
Yeah,
So yeah,
any part of it.
not podcast, but just when you're doing the.
Well, both.
Both, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, people want to constantly be, stimulated with content when they're watching it, and I always see that too, especially with kids in our age group, that they're watching a reel or something, and the moment they get bored, like the moment they get bored of it, it's a
Gone.
swipe, because they got new content there, it's going to activate their dopamine receptors.
That goes back to the quantity.
Yep.
That's why you got to have it, because maybe this one isn't it, but it's the next one. But I think you're right. Having kind of an idea of something that sucks them in, maybe something that makes them laugh, and then something that inspires.
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea, actually.
It's like you always have to start with the grabber. And
Yeah.
I always relate to, I mean, I don't relate, but I always think about your Russian gas video. The best, we were in the
That
car.
still hasn't
Oh, yeah.
gone off yet. I can't believe
I
it
mean,
either.
You have
It's
to
amazing.
repost
I'm just gonna keep
it,
posting it, yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
I'm are you
Maybe
on
try
TikTok?
it with different music. I am, but you know what? I didn't put it on TikTok yet.
Put
You
it on
should.
TikTok.
I'm gonna do it
put on
tonight.
TikTok.
And so that video, we were in the car. It was after we did street interviews, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we watched it together. We watched the whole entire video,
He said it right there.
and then he's that right
He's
here.
going, the lights are down, and he's pumping the gas tank. And
Yeah.
Jay and I are looking at you like, this is awesome. What a great story.
The funny part is, after we finished that, it caught our attention that we both did we on the way home, we did a 30-minute YouTube video about the Russian gas. We wanted to learn more about it.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So what did you find out about that? This is a real thing.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a total
it's
real
insane.
thing, and it's all in like the Russian sports and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
From what I was able to uncover by doing the same thing is, I think it started either in the end of the 70s or early 80s, mostly in their Olympic athletes. Russia was trying to get an edge because they were always competing with United States.
Yep.
You know, going to the moon and doing all these other things, infrastructure, war, military. Then when it came to the Olympics, we were dominating, but they wanted to dominate. And they would, in particular with hockey, figure skating, a lot of these sports. And supposedly the Russian gas was some performance-enhancing drug that was not able to be detected in their testing of like steroids and PEDs. This Russian gas was an undetectable performance enhancer. And so they would give it to all these hockey players, the people that had access to it.
Right. It's such crazy stuff. I mean, even kind of, it's very related to that. There's this great documentary, man, and I forgot the name of it, but it's this. You'll probably be able to find it just because of this. It's about a guy who's researching the kind of doping of Russia in the Olympics and the whole scheme they have going on. And he's a cyclist, and he does like all these different cycling events. And he actually himself hires a nutritionist and a doctor to supervise him, and he takes steroids, all that, and he sees the effect of it in his cycling and how much it's helping, and then relates it to the Russian doping. And it's a crazy scheme they had going on. I mean, like they take the urine from the Russian players, and obviously they have it kept somewhere, but they had guys infiltrated in there that worked for it. So they would move the urine, like quite literally, they drilled a hole through the wall.
Come on! I gotta
You gotta
watch
watch the
this.
documentary. They drilled a hole through the side of the wall of like the doping testing place in the Olympics, and they moved the dirty urine through the wall to somebody on the other side. They moved the clean urine back, and the scientists put it back in the thing. And then it was like all the athletes never got caught doping because these guys had the whole thing infiltrated right through it. It was insane.
It's amazing what people do to catch an edge. Like even in business, like there's a fine line between cheating and a competitive advantage. Obviously, I would consider that cheating. However, it makes for a fucking awesome story.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
You know, it's always cool as long as it doesn't affect us,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But I that's really neat. And I'm going to repackage that reel a couple more times here in the next couple weeks with different music and maybe some different like graphic B-roll graphics, because I feel like the story should be heard by a lot more people, and for some reason it's just not getting the views that I anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting. And again, like even if you're able to get that guy back on the podcast, I would for sure do that, because he probably knows as well about what I was just talking about as well.
Well, what's funny is in the beginning of the interview, before we sat down, like I asked you guys, is there anything we don't want to talk about, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I'm fair game. You know, I know you guys want to talk about the Russian stories, but I don't know that we'll get into all that. Well, when Jay and I were talking, we were throwing a bunch of softballs, kind of loosening them up. And then it wasn't he started talking about how he was in a hospital there and how the medical conditions weren't like they are here. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to give him some medicine that he wasn't comfortable with because of the language barrier, which led to the team doctor having this freeze spray and the ammonia salts, smelling salts.
Right.
And then he saw how receptive we were to that, and he couldn't help himself. He wanted to tell the Russian gas story. So he's like, you know, they got the Russian gas. I'm like, oh, what's the Russian gas? And that's when he dropped the gold. And that was really cool. You never know what's going to be uncovered when you can create an environment where it's very comfortable. So when you guys blow up and get big, I want you to remember us here at My Architectural Glass.
Of course.
And hopefully you'll show some love after you made it big, and we can do another podcast and kind of revisit all your successes. And I definitely want to hear about this trip this summer when you guys get back.
Oh, dude, of course.
I think that'd be fucking awesome. Are you going to be uploading while you're out?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
we're going to bring all of our...
we got these now.
We're going to bring these.
We got our
with us,
vlogging
man.
cameras.
To me, if I was able to go back in high school, during the summer to go on a road trip with my best friend and film social media content, to me would be a dream come. It still would be a dream come true. So I'm super excited for you guys.
I mean, I'm happy my parents said yes, because my dad did the same exact thing in
That's
his
cool.
1997 Hummer H1.
Let's go.
He went across the world, and he went to Europe and everything. And I'm like, I gotta do it just in a Hyundai. It's so awesome, but better gas mileage though.
Did you guys already plan out your route and where you're going and where you're going to be staying, or
We kind of thought about something, but we're probably gonna switch it up a little bit before.
We have so many. I just got invited to. We both got invited to Europe, to go to Europe, and obviously that's gonna be a little bit more expensive, but it's Europe, and we get to go.
yes, you should do it.
But yeah.
So where anywhere in particular, or you go somewhere up north and get the Euro pass, and then you can go to every country you want. You can't go backwards, but you can keep going forward, and you can just stay at hostels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like you go with the backpack, your laptop, and cameras, and just film.
Exactly.
Like that's fucking.
That's
amazing.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have I think like 5 people in the posse if we go to Europe, because we got invited by some people in Miami. I mean, great guys. Shout out Coastal Club.
Coastal Club.
Yeah, that's their company. They have a nice clothing company. That was their second episode, and
so maybe they can help you produce the podcast,
Oh, yeah.
Lobby Rats merch once you get to that point.
they can. I mean, I get asked every single day at school. He does also make merch. Everyone says with the support we get that support, and they say make merch. I buy it.
Yeah.
And we got a brand new logo to put that merchandise on. So
Hats, hoodies, t-shirts.
I have a printer at home that can make
Like a cricket?
I have the Cricut, and then I also have the heat
Oh,
press.
let's go.
So I mean, we want to wait a little bit, but maybe
You can start teasing some, when you go downtown, thanks for coming on, here's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or kind of throw out
Not
like
sell it yet.
designs.
Wait till you build up your social community platform enough so it's worth it.
Yep.
That's what I want to do too. I want to do the same thing, but I'm going to wait a little bit longer.
That would probably be the first like monetary related thing that we do, because obviously.
I don't think so. I bet you.
Really?
My guess is you're going to get somebody that wants to sponsor your podcast.
Yeah.
And especially if you start doing at least one a week, someone will say, "Listen, I'm going to pay you $150 for every podcast you do, as long as I'm in that somehow. A logo, a banner, something that's static in the shot while you're filming the podcast. Maybe it's on the bottom of the microphone and it just says their company name, or
exactly.
something
Just
like that.
Put a sign right there.
Sign there,
Right.
But
sign.
It's cool. It's great being in high school and having a podcast, because anything changes always. When we first started, I mean, we went the Naples Grand, so we snuck into Naples Grand and we posted. We didn't post it, but we did an episode with like 2 random kids, and we just talked about it, and we thought that's when we got the idea of making it business related mostly, because we had the business in mind, but we wanted to switch it up a lot and make it just like talk.
Yeah.
And we snuck into Naples Grand. We did a little podcast sesh up on the second floor in the business area. And I was thinking of like going down and asking them. I'm like, let's just see if we get kicked out. We're in high school. Who cares? And we didn't get kicked out, but we did an episode. Fucking awful. Dude, it was terrible. And then the next day we came back to go check it out. We got kicked out, and we're like, oh no, okay. Well, we talked to the manager, super cool guy. We apologized and said, we can delete the footage if you want. We're not posting anywhere. And so we went to Naples Grand at first, then we went to Brooks Burgers. We filmed 2 episodes there, and finally, my girlfriend Farah, she has a clubhouse. And that clubhouse is where we just had the meeting with the clubhouse supervisor. Now everyone knows about us. There's like 500 people that just got like 500 subscribers because of it. So it's like everyone in the clubhouse knows about us, and I guess they scanned the QR code in.
At the place where we were at?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So they all embrace it there.
Oh,
They all
love
embrace it. They love what we do, and anything changes. We got like a bit sponsorship. We put his name at the end of the video.
JVR.
He helped us out a lot, bought us microphones and everything, and
That's super cool.
yeah.
I think a lot of people are inspired by you guys. You know, obviously being young has its disadvantages, but also has its advantages. When elderly or older people than yourself are asked by you guys for advice, they're happy to give it to you, but they're even happier when you take the advice. It's one thing to ask for it, it's another thing to act on it. And when they see you act on it, now they want to give you more. So now the guy's like buying microphones, somebody's buying cameras. You guys are doing it the right way. The only thing you need to do is just keep doing it.
Yep.
And don't take any advice from anybody that isn't doing what you're doing. Like these teachers that say this is stupid. In one ear and out the other. They're jealous.
Exactly.
They don't have the balls to do it, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so criticism often is... I don't listen to criticism, and I generally don't listen to advice if I'm not asking for it, because it's usually not wanted. People just want to show you how smart they are because they're jealous of you. They want to start a podcast, but they don't have the balls to do it. Like that teacher.
Yeah.
That's what I tell that teacher. That's coming from me, not from them.
It's amazing. We also influence a lot of people to start their own podcast.
Yeah.
I've had two kids. I mean, there's people starting podcasts at school now. We have a kid texting me and say, Sebastian, what supplies did you start off with? And I said, I did this, and just make sure you don't do this and don't do this.
Oh, that makes me think. I'm glad that you said that. Are you guys Amazon affiliates?
No.
You should consider either yourselves or a spouse, parent that is already using Amazon Prime to sign up as an affiliate. And in your podcast, in the show notes, because I'm going to start doing this, I'm going to list every camera, every lens, every microphone, the Rode Podcaster on there. Because if they say, hey, I like this podcast, I want to do what you do, what shit do you have? It's in the show notes, and there's Amazon links, but they're affiliates. So now you're going to get 4% of that sale. So if all this gear costs 10 grand, you know, do the math. It's $400 in your pocket.
Yeah.
For nothing. Now, when you blow up, if you get 1 million followers and 10% of them, that's 100,000 people, buy equipment, you could see how this could add up real fast. So Amazon affiliate is something that you can consider as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, yeah, exactly. And we have really kind of started from scratch. We had nothing, and I mean, mics for $40, our starting ones, cameras, iPhones, Clubhouse. We got.
I love that when I went in there and I saw your guys' cell phones. Most people would be like, "What is this jank shit?" I was ecstatic because it told me here's two people that truly love podcasting. And so one would say, how can you take that from that? Because they're willing. Most people won't do a podcast till they have professional equipment. You didn't need that.
They don't need that.
You needed to have the gumption and aspiration to do it.
Right.
And so you would do it at all costs, even if you just had to use your cell phones. And I love that. Yeah. That means you're true hustlers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think this is going to be your guys' year for sure.
And again, it's about putting that work in too. Honestly, I've seen that mostly, like, even pretty much all the podcasts that have been edited have been like done like very late at night or like very early in the morning, like midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The hunger never sleeps.
I edited your video in the middle of the night while I was playing Madden NFL football.
I love the thumbnail. It was perfect. I will be sharing that video this evening. I've had an extremely busy day, but I've already watched the podcast. I love the thumbnail, but I'm going to share the shit out of it this evening. I'm really excited to do that, share that with you. I appreciate you guys inviting me on there too, by the way.
We're going to make so many reels.
We're
going to make as many reels because that's the most important thing about all the podcasts we do. It's kind of hard finding them now, especially with the first two being bad quality, with the older microphones after we got the new ones. But the reels are the most important part of the podcast because that's the stuff that brings
new people in.
It's like the movie trailer.
Yeah.
Right,
That's the beginning of the funnel.
Exactly.
You have the podcast hosted. Now you use all the reels to attract people to the podcast. and then your call to action eventually will be in there.
Yeah, and you need
People,
Yeah, here you go.
people always forget that Joe Rogan's like, it was so great. The YouTube channel JRE Clips probably was more popular than his actual podcast at the time. Like the thing that got so many people into Joe Rogan was those clips, JRE Clips, and you'd see those 2-minute, 5-minute little clips of his podcast before shorts were even a thing. And they'd have some of the most interesting stuff in them, like, and then you say, "Wow, that's cool. I want to watch.
I
want to
watch more.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great teaser. It's a hook, and when you're really good at editing the little shorts, even if it's a 30-second, 45-second, when you can interject, like you guys did with the spearfishing guy, that
Offshore
one was
Naples, yeah.
Offshore, yeah.
awesome. Especially, I like the reel when he said, if you spearfish or fish with a bow in Collier County, that's because of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. I actually spearfish. I was in Lee County, and I got my diver's license, and my neighbor would take us out, and I learned how to spearfish. But I never thought that was even a thing. Like, you weren't allowed to. I just always thought it was a thing. And the fact that he was the one that petitioned to get that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's a
Did you even
Super
did you
interesting
know
guy.
that before he came on the podcast?
no
So
idea.
that to me is that's the Russian gas one for me. Was that one? That was awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm in pottery class and kids are just coming up to me. He's like, guess what? And I'm like, what? I'm like, anytime someone spearfishes or bow fishes in Collier County, it's because of offshore name. I'm like, yes. Where'd you learn that? Lobby Rats podcast.
That's strong. That was. I actually shared that with a couple of people. That was really cool.
He's great. Yeah, he goes to all the city council meetings and all the Naples stuff. He's super involved. In fact, that'd probably be great for the podcast too, just for us to get involved.
Yeah,
and
go,
be able to
go to every meeting.
You want to just be. This is all about seeking attention. So you want to be wherever there's people at, whether it's at a county meeting with the government, local government. I still like the Fifth Ave and Mercado. To me, like in the pier, like you guys should live at those places. I think those are just the hot spots, and people know those spots. I think you can get a lot of good content out of there.
especially shout out Leonardo. He helped us out, and we've been starting to go to these network events.
Yep.
I mean,
That's where you met. That's how we met.
Yeah, that's how
exactly.
we mutually connected. So we go to these networking events. We go in, and we're the only teens there. Everyone else.
So everybody wants to help you and give you advice.
Everyone.
It's smart.
Actually, we were kind of out of place, but it was real interesting because once I kind of saw that there a lot too. Again, the thing that we were talking about social anxiety and things like that, that it didn't even matter whether or not we were teenagers or whatever. A lot of the people there came with a group, and they kind of stayed with that group the whole time. But we kind of saw that it doesn't matter if we were out of place. We kind of just walked around and started talking to people, and then people get comfortable, and they start bringing their buddies over, like, come check these guys out. They're super interesting. And then that's how, we got to meet all those people.
Yeah. I mean, it gets scary at first. We're like hiding together, like we're just like standing there
In the corner.
just standing in the corner. First guy comes up to us. We get comfortable. We talk for a couple minutes, and then he gives us advice of what to do. And then after that, Ryan and I just go solo. We just go introduce ourselves and get a bunch of business cards and make really good mutual connections, and it's great.
Social lubrication. That's what it is.
That's how. That's how you guys
lubrication.
landed right here.
Exactly.
You met somebody. Which one of you met Emily?
We both did.
Yeah.
That was the first or second person we met.
It's like second.
I
or
read
third,
you
actually.
that text message,
Yeah.
right? She's like, I met
Oh,
these
yeah.
two young guys. They're awesome. You should have them on their podcast. I told them you should be on their podcast, so I'd love to. And that's really cool that you guys went outside the comfort zone to do that. You got any other meetings on the docket that you plan on going to? Any networking events coming up?
We're looking. We almost
We're looking
went,
around for
We
sure.
almost went to Naples tonight. One on the big.
The big,
the boat.
the Suns, the not Key West Express, but the
we
Naples Princess.
We almost did that, but I think we instead went and did interviews. Honestly, we just wanted to get some more content in before we met a bunch of people. But yeah, I'm definitely on the lookout. I'm more of making content right now because we're going to the Miami Boat Show on the 14th through the 18th.
Yep.
Okay.
We get media passes, and so we're going in there. We're going to be doing interviews with. I know there's going to be so many owners, so many influencers. So
Basically, it's gonna be like
so we're gonna be doing that.
Listen, when you guys go to the Miami Boat Show, there's a performance boat, like kind of a high speed, very luxury boat. It's called Nortec.
Oh yeah,
Nortec.
Love that boat.
Okay, well they're made in Cape Coral. They make the boats. I've taken a tour of the factory in Cape Coral.
Oh, wow.
They'll probably be at that show.
Yeah.
If you're there and you see the booth for Nortec, take a picture or video and text it to me, because I did glass work for the owner and then his general CEO, his general manager that runs the place, and they love social media.
Oh, yeah.
They don't produce it, but they consume it, and they would love. I'm sure they would love to have you film a podcast at their factory, probably on one of the boats or something. And I'm talking $1 million for these boats. I mean, they're big time.
Yeah.
All the boats over there are big time.
Nortec is my favorite boat.
Yeah,
in the whole entire world.
they would love. You approach them, you name drop. They will love it. They will love it.
That's a great opportunity.
Yeah, they'll love it.
100%. And that's what we look for, the opportunity that can get us. See, we just got an opportunity right
Yeah,
there.
when
Right.
you see Nortec, you text me and I'll tell you who you want to talk to.
I
there.
will.
Oh, yeah,
I
for
will.
sure.
Yep. They're good people. That'd be a cool get for you guys too.
Yeah.
Their boats are sick.
Oh, yeah.
My uncle has one.
A Nortec?
Yeah,
That's sick.
I'm like, oh my god.
yeah, your uncle's a boss.
Yeah, yeah, he's crazy. Hopefully, I get to drive it next time. I'm gonna whip it through the channel.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're gonna get so much content at Miami Boat Show and all that. That's the thing too. It's kind of looking ahead and making a schedule. That's really important. That's what we started to do now, because before we were kind of just passing the information on to us both. But I know that it's very good to be organized. So we're definitely trying to implement a lot more organization into. What
Yeah,
we're
if
doing.
you're over the course of a month, you plan 2 or 3 spots. Plus, in between, we're gonna do some live interviews on apps. I think that's
exactly,
good too.
Yeah.
The live
Mix of both.
live interviews. I just say when we're bored, we say
Pretty much.
we have specific dates we do the interviews also, but just one day we're bored. It's a weekday, and we're like, hey, what are we doing tonight? It's like, just want to go get some interviews in, and then we just get content from that.
I think
Immediately.
those are most captive. I would rather watch those 1-2 minute interviews than a full podcast.
Yeah,
For me,
100%.
I like the interaction where if it's on you and you're like, yeah, I want to ask you a few questions, and you pan over because I want to see their response to when you do that. And for me, that's super intriguing to me. Like, I could watch that literally on a loop all night. I could go down a rabbit hole. I love watching those type of interviews. Just completely raw and watching the dynamic unfold from somebody asking a stranger a question. To me, it's extremely fascinating. I don't know what it is about it, but I can't not watch it.
Yeah, I think actually it comes from the just general, that instinctual human feeling of the satisfaction of being able to kind of get to know somebody
Quickly.
quickly, in such so quickly in a not deep level, but a decently deep level. You know?
Enough to where they trust you to share something that they might not just share with anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
They feel
get-
compelled to.
You get dopamine from that.
100%. That's why being a good interviewer is almost even more important than having a good story, because if you can't tease out the story is useless.
Right.
So even though you might not say much, the little bit that you say could have a massive impact on what they say. And so being a good interviewer is a hard skill. It really is, because a lot of us just want to talk because we love to hear ourselves talk. But being a good interviewer, you have to be able to throttle that back and just tease out the other person talking. I love watching that.
Exactly.
I love watching their reactions to that. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Is there any, unless there's any shout outs or anything that, where can everybody find you guys?
Well, we got Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify. Basically, just go to our Instagram at the Lobby Rats Podcast, and we've got our link tree there in the bio. Check us out on all of our links there.
And if people in Southwest Florida are going to be out, where might they bump into you this weekend?
Ooh,
Everglades Seafood Festival.
Seafood Festival. Shout out those guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really awesome. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. We get to go backstage and everything.
I think last year at the Everglades Festival, if I'm not mistaken, one of the people that played on stage was an actor from the show Yellowstone.
Really?
One of the characters in the show Yellowstone is a country music singer, and he played there, and it got a big following.
Wow.
If you guys ever watch Yellowstone,
Yeah.
I didn't get to finish it, but
oh yeah, it's really good.
yeah, it's awesome.
But one of the actors is also a country singer. I can't remember which one it was, but he played there, and it was a big following.
Oh,
So you never know who's going to show. Do they already have the bands listed this year?
There's
do.
one band. It's
Lone Star?
Lone Star.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. So Lone Star is gonna be there, which we get to meet. I mean,
That's huge.
Amazing.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think isn't there a couple band members from Leonard Skinner gonna be there also?
No, it's their tribute. The
tribute
Tribute band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
But still, I mean,
but usually tribute bands are the next best thing, and they know a lot about the band, so they'll be able to share history of the
for
band
sure.
and stuff with you.
They probably sound just like them too.
Oh yeah, they usually
Yeah.
the tribute bands for sure.
Like last year too, they had the Marshall Tucker. We went last year and they had the Marshall Tucker band there. I mean,
Sounded good?
That's big. Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded good. Yeah.
How many people were there last year? A lot.
Ton,
Oh my
a ton. It was packed.
I couldn't walk through. It was,
We had to park like probably like a good mile away from where it actually was.
Where in Everglades City where they got that thing that you can walk all the way up to kind of see all the way around. It's like an observatory.
I don't think I've seen it. No.
I've not seen it. I don't.
You'll see it this
Yeah,
year when
we'll
you're
see it
walking
this
there.
year.
It's a pretty
Yeah.
cool place.
It's
'Cause
like
it's
a-
the only spot that you got to go up. It's like I don't know, 200 feet up. I mean, you're up there, but you got a 360 view of
Oh.
everything around
Like
there.
a
I
lighthouse,
just
is
saw
it?
on Instagram today. It's funny. It's in you. That's what we're gonna do. It's like the observatory, and you have to have your passes to go up there.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
that. So yeah, we'll be there. We'll be on stage. Hopefully they let me sing a song or something.
Oh, that'd be cool. Make sure the camera's
Yeah.
rolling 24/7.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
gonna-
those
Make-
cameras, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Yeah, and one last thing. I was thinking of maybe like not really of a vlog, but when we do this thing this summer, maybe just kind of like sort of like an episode of like the whole entire adventure, and
Right.
then just like post like like just the excursions that we get into.
I personally, if I could interject myself into your guys' trip this summer, I would absolutely love if either part of the way through, maybe halfway through, or even at the end, I could send you guys, if you bring your laptop, I'll send you guys a link to Zoom and we could film a podcast just kind of to let everybody know how things are going.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd
And
be
what
great.
we can expect when you get back.
that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm definitely bringing my laptop.
Oh
You'll
yeah,
have some
we
things
have
to
to bring our
yeah.
laptops. We have to
Yeah.
like, make this content on the go. I'm gonna go buy a MacBook before we leave.
100%. 100%. All right, cool. So we'll check up on you guys. So if anybody's going to be down in Everglades City this weekend, please stay tuned and look out for the
Yeah, Lobby Rats podcast.
Lobby
If
Rats.
you guys have anything you'd like to say to us when you guys are down at Everglades City,
and they'll
sure
be
to-
doing random interviews, so don't be
Oh, yeah.
scared.
Just run up to us.
Yeah, just
whatever.
run up to us, say, I want to tell you guys something, and then we'll just get the camera out and you'll go viral with us.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck. We know you're going to have a good year this year.
And thank you for the presents
you.
also.
No
Thank you.
problem. All right, cool.
Cool.
Cool, cool, cool.
Peace.
Peace.